only feels like yesterday that Dom Sheed did the impossible. It was one of the great moments in AFL Grand Final history. And the man in the coach's box who orchestrated the victory joins us on the show, Adam Simpson, from the former Eagles coach. Appreciate your time, Simo. Good morning.
Good morning, boys. Actually, I was thinking about that the other day, and they really should call that the Sheed pocket, you think, at the MCG.
Whatever, mate.
They should call it the Sheed pocket.
It was the first time he hit a target in 11 years. Fair dinkum. Hasn't missed one since, though, just quietly. Hey, Simo, before when we were talking about you coming on the show, and Goss said we're very excited to have you on, and I said, mate, Simo's a premiership player and a premiership coach, there can't be too many of them going around. And we've done our research, thanks to John, who texted in. You're in a very exclusive group of people. Since 1920, there's only been 11 coaches that weren't premiership players. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Scotty came on and said it's a rare group, and then we did the sums, and it's not very rare at all.
It's not rare at all.
Nah, it's pretty common. No, well, I don't know what you want me to say to that. I'm just average, I suppose.
Hey, you've been in Melbourne for a couple of weeks now, and do you feel like it's grand final week, even though the two teams are non-Melbourne teams? Do you still get that vibe in Melbourne town that it's a big one?
Look, I was thinking about it the other day. It really hasn't changed, and I was really fortunate to play throughout the 90s and 2000s and been part of a few grand finals in the journey. It's sort of it's a predictable few weeks. The only thing that was different was there was no finals in Melbourne a few weeks ago, and that was a little bit different. You know, a lot of pubs were filled. But I went to the prelim on the weekend, and that was a really special game, and a packed out MCG. There's nothing like it.
We spoke to Michael Braun earlier in the show, and we were talking about 2005 and, his injury push. He said he was never going to play with the hamstring. And then we've got Callum Mills doing his thing today. Is grand final week ducks and drakes with injuries like this? Do you reckon they will genuinely give him a chance? And did you have any players in 2018 that needed to prove their fitness going into your game?
Yeah, I don't think ducks and drakes is really, not that I know what that means, but the hiding of injuries or fitness tests, you got to be pretty transparent because it's such a big occasion. I think we had McGovern had a serious injury against Melbourne where he had some internal bleeding and really 50-50 whether he should play or not. And we weren't trying to hide the fact whether he was going to play. We just made the decision as late as we could. So I think he fitness tested the captain's run was the first thing he did since the prelim. So yeah, that was a test, but it is a bit different when it's a collision injury versus a strain. The strains are difficult because until you play 100 minutes of football, that's the real test for something like a hamstring, which I'm sure Horse and the team would be questioning whether that's going to come up or not.
How hard is it, Simo, to make a decision on a player like that? We were talking to, as Goss said, Brawny, and I was talking about his decision was made for him. There have been players over the time that have said, I don't think I can get through it, and where they've made their own call. But as a coach, just how hard would it be to say, when you've got a player knocking on your door going, I'm good to go, I'm right, and you've got doubts about them, to make that decision on them to take away their ultimate goal, it's not a nice place to be in, surely. No,
I think it's more understanding though. It's the guys who have been in the side for a lot of the year that just get squeezed out. They're the ones that are really difficult because that's just a genuine match committee discussion. And as a coach, you probably lose a few players in terms of the relationship gets strained, especially if you go on to win it. So that's sort of I'd say most coaches will have those players who missed out on a premiership through selection. They're the ones that probably carry it for a bit longer.
On the AFL website, there's an 18-minute montage of Chris Fagan and Craig McRae coaching wired up and coaching. Yeah, it's really good, really measured and really calm. Obviously, I think they've had a bit of stuff. They've vetoed a bit of stuff, their own personal stuff on there. But what's it like in a coach's box on grand final day, Simo? Your game was tied at three-quarter time. The Dom Sheed moment comes about. You win by less than a kick. I'd be intrigued by the calmness in the coach's box. I mean, is it any different to a sort of 4 premiership point game?
Oh yeah, it's a lot different, but your coaching styles probably doesn't change. I mean, we were mic'd up in 18 So I think there's some vision somewhere of the same sort of things that happened to those two guys. It's happened to Bucks and myself in 18. You got the three-quarter time, very close game. Came down to your own system and your own beliefs, and you try and stay calm. But the moves you make in the last quarter is probably not a lot, but when you make them, they can be game changing. So some of the things we did in the last quarter, worked okay. Some of the things the players already knew that they had to do, which, they've been doing throughout the whole year in terms of extra players behind the ball once we hit the lead, or how to control and manage the clock late. Those type of things, the players really do take over. So got to try and stay calm, though.
No, it was you that put Nathan Vardy forward, and that was what the ultimate test for Collingwood's underman backline, and it was all you. So there's no one else. Hey,
yeah.
Mate, that was all you. Take the credits when you can. Hey, we mentioned Chris Fagan just before, Coach of the Year, which I think was an absolutely right call. And I was really disappointed that my big mate over here said it was a horrible decision.
I didn't say horrible.
You said it was a horrible decision, and it was like you shot Bambi.
I did not say that.
You were shooting Bambi relentlessly, and not just one to put it out of its misery. You went 3 or 4 times at it.
Sydney was on top all year. And remember, Brisbane were in the grand final last year. He didn't just win it, Chris Fagan. He won by about 70 votes.
Yeah, Chris Fagan came back from a horrible start. Yes, he was in charge during that horrible start, but also had 5 ACLs and numerous other injuries, and has coached them magnificently. Your thoughts, please, Simo. I reckon it's a great call.
Gosh, you and Kingy got an in for Fags.
Oh, you know what? And they think alike a lot, Goss and Kingy. They're very, very tight. Very tight.
Look, I actually got the email to ask to vote for that, and I didn't think I should, since I don't work as a coach anymore. But if I had voted, I probably would have voted for Fags as well. I mean, when you look at it, there's a few things. You judge them on expectations and meeting that. You judge them on what, say, Sam Mitchell has done and even Chris Fagan, where you start the year, your team's been written off, you're under immense pressure as a coach, your job's questioned, and you stay resilient, you tweak a few things, you change your style, and then you get on a winning streak. And then for Fags, he slips into the finals, they finish 5th, they obviously win the first home final, then they're going to go on the road for 2 weeks. So from a coaching performance, I'm not taking anything away from Horse. He's had a fantastic year, but from a coaching performance and what he had to do to get the team to where they are this week, probably lean to Fags. I don't know if that makes sense or not.
Yeah, no, it does. It certainly does. You got 3 votes too in the Coaches of the Year. Jared Schofield gave you 3 votes as well because he just wanted the opportunity to. Hey, Simo, I'm not going to ask you about the Eagles.
You know what? There's a reverse Brownlow award. I think I might have won the reverse Coach of the Year.
3 votes.
I was the only one who got the flick. So does that mean I came? Yeah, I think I've come 18th in the coaches' vote.
No, it's the Naga. The Naga.
Hey, just in regards to the Brownlow medal, do you agree that umpires and coaches, Bucks is a believer that it's not the feature award anymore. He reckons there should be some input with stats. Jared Waitley was big on the stats involvement from umpires. There's been a story saying that umpires have been asking for stats for the last couple of years to have a look. Not taking away from Patrick Cripps, no doubt about that, deserving winner. But the numbers certainly were very much odd in regards to some of the games that he got votes in. What's your view on who votes on the Brownlow? And do you think stats should come into account, and also coaches?
It's a bloody difficult conversation because, this year's it's a bit of an outlier in terms of the total votes, but it's a tiny bit of a trend in terms of the numbers are getting a bit higher, aren't they? But I'm not sure if the stats would change anything. It's
stats lie.
Yeah, well, sometimes you got to dig a bit deeper than possessions. So, score involvements, intercepts, rebound. Where do you stop when you look at stats? And it makes a bit of sense. It wouldn't change a hell of a lot, would it, if you gave us some access to the stats? But I'm not quite sure if the umpires know some of the valuable stats that help win games either. They'd have to get educated a little bit because it's not just, he's had 19 possessions and 45% efficiency, therefore he shouldn't get votes. It's the impact of those possessions that are effective. So, an interesting one. I don't really have an opinion, but I'd understand why you'd look at doing something.
That makes sense to me. That's everything I've been saying, which might alarm Simo, but that's everything I've been saying as well. I'm with you. Hey, mate, two really, really good sides in the in the grand final this weekend. You're coaching. Let's say you're coaching against Sydney or you're coaching against Brisbane. What would be the one thing you'd want to stop from Sydney and the one thing you'd want to stop from Brisbane?
Well, I think and both teams have got the ability to take out the opposition's best, and I think that's where you start. Well, who can we quieten on the day? Because you're not going to stop everyone. So I'm not sure the matchups who they'll be, but they're important. As a coaching group, in particular finals, you'd have no more than 3 focus points on the opposition. Probably 1 or 2, where it's let's just take away Brisbane's uncontested marks. Let's see if we can do that. Strange enough, it's the same thing with Sydney. The most 90% of what they'll do is they'll focus on their own system, their own way of going about it. What's the most important things they need to do on their own, and they'll take away 1 or 2 things from the opposition, and then the third one will be the stoppages. So there'll be a structure there that it's pretty similar every week, but there'll be some tweaks about do we give them an extra, do we send an extra to the stoppage, those type of things. Without seeing the vision lately, they'll get into those details. So it's really hard for commentators or experts to actually give a specific thing because you got to look at the vision. So success indicators probably leans around contested possession, but a little bit of uncontested possession as well. I rambled a little bit there, boys, but you got me thinking.
No, ramble is good. Hey, Simo, last one. Shannon Hearn has been employed to go back in developments, year away. Your Premiership captain, I know you had a great association with Shannon, of course, as the skipper in that Premiership year and for many years of your coaching tenure. A personal opinion, great appointment, and are you surprised that he wanted to get back into footy?
No, not surprised at all. One thing about Shannon, he'll be unique to himself in terms of how he goes about it. He's got his own way. It's very effective. He's got a lot of respect from, we would have played with a few of the guys who are still on the list. So, and he's got, universal respect as a person as well as a great footy brain. So really that's an obvious selection piece for the coaching panel, which I'm assuming might happen probably next week. You would have thought, boys. I don't know a thing what's happening, but seems to be a next week sort of announcement.
Yeah,
we hope so.
Yeah, after Coxie
after Coxie's available. Stop it.
You said no chance.
I refuse to accept that.
Simpson says Cox, no chance.
I refuse to.
There's the SEN headline right there.
Hey, Simo.
Simpson says Cox.
No, I don't really know.
Simo.
I have a loop. For some strange reason.
No, some strange reason.
Mutual.
Cut his emails off. Hey, mate, we've had callers in today. They're going into Goss Lotto as an unemployed bloke. We're going to give you an opportunity to get into it. Give us your grand final winner and a Norm Smith, please. We'll give you 3 shares in Goss Lotto this weekend.
$5 million.
I'll go Brisbane.
Ooh.
And Zach Bailey.
Whoa!
Wow! You know what? Just back that on your own. Just back that on your own. You'll win more than a share of Goss Lotto.
I think what's happened lately, or maybe I'm completely wrong here, but it's either the midfielder that kicks goals or it's the forward that kicks. You got to have a few goals under your belt, which the Sydney mids do. But Isaac Smith a couple of years ago, last year,
Bobby Hill.
Not that I don't think I can bet on footy. I haven't done it yet, but I might make a few inquiries today, actually.
Yeah.
Got me thinking.
I'll put it on for you, mate. Hey, hit them straight. Appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. Have a great grand final day.
Cheers, boys.
Good on you. There he is, Adam Simpson. Great to take our calls. There he is. Take it to the bank. Bailey in Brisbane, Bank of Queensland, the human kind of bank.
And Cox no chance.